Oh, already. Oh. Where were we? We went over Octane, we went over Rampart, went over Mirage, went over Wraith, we went over Crypto, we went over Loba. We went over Path for a little bit. We went over Gibby. We did not go over Lifeline. Did we? I don't think we did. Yeah, we did Gibby for sure. Yeah. So Lifeline, I think, is up next. Let's do that. Do I want to split my screen here and maybe do it this way? That might be useful. I think we'll probably do that. What's the point of having a 21:9 if you're not going to split the screen, right? I think we'll do that. And we'll go over Lifeline's abilities. Alrighty. I think we'll go ahead and get right into it. Not really sure what else there is to do besides making you guys wait around for no reason. So we went over Gibraltar last time, as well as Pathfinder and all the other legends above him on my spreadsheet. So today is going to be Lifeline, Bangalore, Caustic, Bloodhound, and we'll then, after that, we will take a look at my my legends I've designed myself, because once we get to this point, there's actually Valkyrie now. And Fuse. There's Valkyrie and Fuse. So we do have to cover Fuse. And honestly, I just want Fuse out of the game. I know a lot of people actually like him, but good lord. Valkyrie? Yeah, there we go. I would frankly just remove Fuse from the game. I thought of all these other legends before Fuse came out, and so needless to say, Fuse was underwhelming. So I just don't see a place for him. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I just, if I had to get rid of a legend in Apex, it'd be Fuse. His ultimate is completely useless against most of the legends in the game. His tactical is just a grenade, and okay, cool. Like, if he didn't have the passive stacking grenades, then maybe I wouldn't need to carry so many. But now he can stack grenades, and the other grenades are better than his fucking tactical. So he's just an arc star thrower, and I don't need a legend for an arc star thrower. You know, like he's not for me, right? On top, not only is he just not for me, I don't see where he fits in the meta. I honestly don't. I honestly just don't see where he fits in the meta. But anyway, we'll get to him, and we'll do our best to make him, you know, what he needs to be, because he's an interesting character. I just can't fucking stand his abilities. They don't make any sense. They're some of the hardest abilities to balance, because everything about them is subjective. There's no objective way to design that ability without it just being weird. You know, like like some people are gonna think it doesn't do enough. Some people are gonna think it does too much. Like there's no, you will never make people happy with Fuse because of his abilities. It's a whole thing. He's too niche. He's way too niche. So anyway, Lifeline. Lifeline. What are we doing with Lifeline? So the tactical, the passive. The passive is a huge one. So let's read up on the passive because this is something I do not agree with. So she deploys Doc to revive the teammates, leaving Lifeline free to defend, which is fantastic. You can leave Doc to continue giving the revive, giving you the capacity to revive another teammate or defend the teammate being revived. You can revive 2 players at the same time. Now, this is a new stipulation. So for those that don't know, in Season 8, she had a shield that would deploy, but she could only use Doc on 1 player. Now there is no shield, but she can use Doc on 2 players. And I'm not a fan of that. I don't think she should be able to res both players without leaving combat. So I would rather her have the shield back with extra stipulations and with that. So Lifeline can cancel revives early to allow her teammates to defend themselves with knockdown shields. That's a hard one for Lifeline to be the one doing that, right? Why does that's so much responsibility on Lifeline? Frankly, I think the cancelability of the revive, that wasn't ever really a thing, and I honestly don't think that it should be. I think that it kind of ruins the skill, with the shield, it would make sense if you could cancel, because the shield would be placed based on a certain direction. So should you return the shield, I would be okay with keeping canceling. But if they decide to not keep the shield, to keep it as is and not give the shield back, I don't think you should be allowed to cancel it, because that's there's no point. I mean, I know it's to defend themselves with knockdown shields, but if they're close enough to shoot the player that's getting revived, the fuck is a knockdown shield gonna do? You know, that. That's not what knockdown shields are for. So it doesn't really matter. If she's gonna cancel a revive, it should be to change the direction that the shield is facing. That's what canceling a revive should be about, not about letting the teammate revive their knockdown shield. That's a dumb thing to do, because there's no point. It's not gonna save them. The extra compartment in the blue supply bins can be opened by pressing the interact button, revealing 2 more supplies. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice little thing for Lifeline, sure. I mean, that doesn't need to go away, but it doesn't need to stay either. I mean, it's not like that's providing a lot of things to Lifeline. It's not like if you took that away, people would suddenly be like, "Oh, you ruined Lifeline." No, you're fine. Realistically, if you wanted to shift her power and not have her have so much in passives, that's the first thing I would cut. So if a player in the process is in the process of being revived by Doc, they will not be the revive will not be canceled when the last player in the squad is downed, and therefore the squad will not be eliminated until the revived player is killed. Yeah, so that's what that just means, is that if you're getting revived by Lifeline's drone and everyone else is knocked down, you still get to get finished. You still get to finish the revive, and then if you get knocked again after that, then you're fucked. Or if you get finished during that revive, then your team dies, which I'm sure you guys all have experience with. So let's kick this off with her passive ability. So I think that there needs to be a new direction with Lifeline, and Respawn does as well. So I'm going to give you my 2 cents on the matter and how I would rework Lifeline to be more of that combat revive, and that kind of almost the Bangalore of medics, if you would. That dependable, consistent, predictable kind of legend. That's what it should be, in my opinion. So for her passive, this is an interesting thing. So I think first off, I'm just gonna start rewriting a lot of this, and we'll try to copy and paste from before. I'm gonna be removing the supply bin, removing the blue supply bin passive. So that it's again. So we want to. I would. Lifeline's strength is in her drone, not what she can loot. So it made sense before Loba, but now that we have Loba, I want to start shifting Lifeline away from that random lootness, the RNG of loot, and more toward a dependable amount of loot. And so in order to shift that power of Lifeline, of what she brings to the team, removing these smaller things that are kind of helpful, and allowing her actual abilities to do more. That's what I'm wanting. So this is kind of where we're going with that. So in order to make Lifeline more herself, we're removing the kind of the little things that don't really hurt her or help her, just to reevaluate her as a character, because these are little things that they gave to her when her pick rate was down and when her win rate was down, and then they went a little bit too far and now they're taking some stuff back, and this is one of the things that they should trim back, is that, you know, so that the blue supply bin passive can go away. We don't need that. And it also welcomes the coloring of the supply bins into something completely different, so that way it doesn't have to mean Lifeline. It just means that, hey, a blue supply bin is this and not that, and you can get a little bit more complicated with your loot spawning if the blue bin isn't attached to a legend. So blue bins don't have to go away per se. It's just that blue bins could go from something that Lifeline can open to being a crate with just meds, if you wanted to go that route. Or they can just put everything back to orange and move on, and it won't matter. But having that option and having players used to seeing blue bins by now is a tool that they should use, and it's a tool wasted on Lifeline. So moving on from that, I do know that Lifeline mains want her fast heals back. I think that's a mistake for Lifeline's character because of her innate strength. So I don't want her fast heals back, and I know that sucks, and I know people are gonna hate me for that, but it's kind of just the way that has to go for a character that can speed revive and revive away from combat. Speed healing is just a little bit too far. So especially for shields, sorry, it just can't be a thing. So we won't be doing fast heals back. So because of the general increase in the speed of healing, allowing fast heal would be more likely for her to be broken than for her to be useful. So yeah, that's kind of where, especially since I just reduced healing times across the board a little bit, giving a legend fast heal like that, especially Lifeline, it's just not going to go well. So we're just not going to do that. And speed revive is 4.5 seconds, but what I do want to give Lifeline is fast res. I do think that Lifeline should have fast revive. However, I think that should come only from Doc. I think that that Doc should revive in I'd say, yeah, we'll do 4.5 seconds, which is the same as the fast. That's the same as Gibraltar under his dome. So Doc would revive in 4.5 seconds. Right. I would also like to see Doc return with the shield. And I also would like to see the shield have a health of 1,000 damage. So this way it can be broken if a team needs to focus fire it. But it will require a team. So this is enough that most of the time they're not gonna get it off. I mean, let's just double check. What's the DPS of 1,000 divided by 4.5? How much damage per second do they need to deal? 222 damage per second. If you divide that by 2 players, that's 100 damage per second. That's more than possible. That's more than possible to get through that revive shield. And that's just for 2 players. If all 3 players focus fire that, then that's very, very possible to do 74 DPS. That's more than doable for legends to break through that barrier. More than doable for a whole team. So I think a health of 1,000 damage is just fine. And don't forget that grenades were very effective against the revive shield. You know, especially sky nades. Skynading frags was very effective against this. So there's already pretty hard counters to it that any legend has access to. So we're going to be doing that. On top of that, now that we have the span of the healing drone, let's see. Now for the duration, the drone's being used for 5 seconds after Lifeline. Okay, so this is another thing that we need to do to the drone. Is the Doc revive needs a cooldown. So we're giving it a cooldown of 15 seconds. So if a person gets knocked for the next 15 seconds, they cannot be revived by the drone, but they can be revived by Lifeline herself, which will not grant the fast revive time. So during this 15 seconds, Lifeline can still revive a knocked teammate herself, but at the standard 6-second length duration timer. So there we go. So 15 seconds. Both healing options will grant the speed revive. Oh, never mind. Okay. Oh, see, this one would before I still had it using the drone shield. That's not what we're gonna be using. Okay. That's no. So can use herself with the standard 6-second timer, with no aid from Doc. So that's what we're gonna do for Lifeline, and that just makes sense. You know, it's the spam, especially in close range, that made that a problem. And so I think this is enough to require another support legend instead of Lifeline being that that kind of mule that could carry the whole team on her back, especially with that res shield. So it wasn't. Then this is enough time for snipers to try to finish their kill. It's enough time for that person to use knockdown shields to crawl. It's enough time to break that knockdown shield and get the finish. The 15 seconds it's a very long time in close range combat, or even just for long range combat if they can manage that knock if they're in the open. So if they're not close to cover, it's just not going to work. You're going to need a Gibraltar or something to get that revive off again. And on top of that, they will have the 6-second timer, not the 4.5-second timer, because Gibraltar will no longer have fast heal under Dome, and Lifeline will not be able to fast res without Doc. So that is going to be the full 6-second timer as well. I also would like to have Doc survive outside the zone for longer, to kind of shift a bit more power to her tactical, which they have done a very good job with. So when I wrote this, that hadn't happened yet. So this was with the old rate, the very slow rate. So I had it buffed up to 9 health per second instead of 7.5 health per second. What did they end up putting it to? What did they put it to? They put it to 8 health per second. Okay, so I actually had it buffed higher than that. So it was at 7.5 health per second in season 7, and they put it to 8 health per second. So I would stand by 9. I think 9 health per second would still be okay. I would be all right with giving that another buff. And up to a max. You know what? I would give it a buff in a different way. It only heals 150 health. I would let that heal 200. So I would keep it at 8 health per second. And so Doc still heals at a rate of 8 health per second. But can heal 200 health. I think that's fine. Because having a Lifeline should just mean that you don't have to carry as many meds. There was a passive that I wanted to do for Loba. I mean, for Lifeline, about carrying a certain amount of about recarrying the old standard of meds, letting her carry 6 cells, letting her carry 6 syringes, 3 bats and 3 med kits. But I think, at least for the time being, that is not the route I'm going to go with Lifeline, and I'm actually going to bring that to another support legend and let that passive go to someone else, because Lifeline has enough passives right now that I don't think she needs that passive on top of it. So to fix that and to avoid giving her a passive of stacking meds higher, I want to let her not have to carry syringes by buffing the shit out of Doc. So the extra rate, the extra health, letting this be a crutch for the team so that they don't have to carry as many base meds because they have a Lifeline. So this way, a lifeline with heat shields can help a squad get through those early zones, or even like if I reduce round three ring damage, even round 3 zone, to make sure that if you get unlucky with loot and you have a lifeline, then early game she can save you to get you to the end game, and end game she can help keep you competitive and in the game as well, so that she's kind of that steady workhorse like I'd like her to see and like her to be again. So this would be that. So I'll leave the health of Doc outside the zone the same, so that because we do have heat shields now, so we don't have to worry about balancing Doc without heat shields, because again, this was written in season 7 before heat shields were a thing. What you want to remember is that syringes and medkits will now heal faster than Doc at 12.5 health per second and 20 health per second respectively. The cooldown is being reduced to 30. Wait, what? What's the cooldown on Doc? 45 seconds. I would like to see the cooldown reduced to 35 seconds. Yes. That is a lie. Syringes. What do syringes heal at in my version? I need to have that written down somewhere. Syringes are 25 health and 3.5 seconds in my version, so 7. So Doc does heal faster than syringes, and medkits are 100 divided by. Was it 6.5? 15? Is that 15 per second? What did I do? I don't remember. I don't remember. Medkits are 6.5. Yeah, so it's not faster than a medkit, but it is faster than syringes, and I think that's good. And it's only slightly faster. Syringes were at 7.5, and then I have now with the 8 per second, it's just slightly faster than syringes. But this is again, if you wanted to compare it to current, a syringe takes 5 seconds, so it's actually 3 health per second faster than a current syringe. But I buff syringes to make it only 1 health faster than a syringe, so it won't be much faster than a syringe, but it will have a much larger pool to draw from, and the cooldown being reduced to 35 seconds, I think it's going to be good as well. I'm happy with that rework, and the 15-second cooldown of the shield is going to be huge, and that could even be longer if we wanted to shift the passive even further, for this to not be, to shift the power more towards her tactical and her ultimate, and reduce the amount that people are on the tactic or the passive, which is a huge reason to pick lifeline. You can make that a 20-second interval, so that it's more of a one-off per fight, not something that you can depend on every single time. And I think this would be a welcome change back to lifeline. And also, just for the sake of knowing where enemies are healing, the shield is a huge visual indicator of what's going on, and it in some ways it's easier to fight when they have the shield. So right now, being able to do it with no visual cue and only audio cues, especially with the state of audio in Apex, is not great. So being able to revive both teammates with no visual cue, like that's annoying. That's hard. That's rough. That's really, really annoying. So having the visual cue of, oh, they're over there, I think is huge for nerfing Lifeline's ability to get the revive off, because there's a big flag going, I'm over here, not just this sound that sounds like it's around you somewhere. It's much, much easier to find. So it at close ranges, it's actually, the shield is a bit of a nerf if it's not facing the right way. And at range, it's a huge buff to Lifeline. And so this is where it, especially with now the new passive, it's not going to be something that will save people that are getting knocked right next to her. It's something that will save people that are getting knocked by snipers. And now with the new rework to the knock state, with them having 150 health and losing health over time instead of just a timer, then the amount of times that you're going to get knocked by a Kraber, or in my build, potentially the Sentinel, don't freak out, we're going to cover that a lot, it's not as scary as you think, potentially the Sentinel, definitely the Kraber, then the shield is going to be so much more important. And for how much more annoying range combat's going to be in my version compared to what you guys are used to right now, range combat is going to get more use. It's going to be more deadly. It's going to feel like the bow. It's not, and frankly, things are going to be stronger than the bow. The bow is never that strong. You were just finally getting hit at range. You've been playing a game with such slow muzzle velocities for 2 years that you're just not used to people at range having a shot. They're just not going to hit you. And so when the 30-30 first came out, when the bow first came out, but the bow probably still does. It has actually like decent muzzle velocity. It has like still slow but like usable muzzle velocity. And so you started getting hit from range by the bow in the 30-30, and then you're like, this shit's broken, and it actually isn't broken. It's just what it should have been in the first place. It's what for 2 years range combat should have been in Apex. But they haven't. They fundamentally crippled it for 2 years. So now you're just conditioned. And this, you know, I just 2 years on Apex isn't going to get rid of 15 years of, well, rather 10 years of Battlefield and COD memories, right? Now, granted, in COD the snipers were hit scan, but in Battlefield they weren't, and they never were. And there's a way to make snipers take a while at range without making it fucking impossible, and they just don't want to do that. And I fully believe that they're competent enough to know how to do that, and to do that, they just aren't. And frankly, if they expect me and other players to stay, they need to. It's time. 2 years is long enough. We need to fix this. So, it just, please. So anyway, so because of that, Lifeline needs the shield. Because of how I would like to see range combat be in Apex, no one will pick Lifeline if she doesn't have a res shield, because it's going to be fucking useless. So believe me when I say that the cooldown's enough, and you will want the shield back on Lifeline if my changes go through. You will absolutely want it, and you're going to see Lifeline's pick rate go through the fucking roof the first 2 weeks that my changes go out, if they ever do. I guarantee you. Guarantee you. Because you're going to have people actually hitting shots at range. And the ultimate. The ultimate, what do we got now? So, in its current state, it always guarantees an upgrade to your squad's current loadout if possible. So this means that if you have level 3 stuff, you get gold. If you have level 2 stuff, you get purple. If you have level 1 stuff, you get level 2. So it goes off of whatever the lowest person in your squad has. So if you have a purple mag and someone in your squad has a white mag, you're going to get a blue mag. You're not going to get gold just because you have level 3. It's whatever the lowest person in the lowest tier of stuff that your squad has. So if you have if you all have level 1 white armor and you call in a Lifeline package, you're not getting purple, you're not getting gold, you're getting blue. You're gonna get blue. You're not getting anything better than that. So if 2 of you have blue and 1 of you has white, guess what? You're getting blue. It won't give you purple until everyone on your team has blue. So that is consistently at the very least. I'll put an asterisk by that. I haven't tested that, but from experience and from what I have seen happen, it will not guarantee purple until all of you have level 3. And if all you have, so it won't until all you have level 2. And if your team has all level 3, you'll be guaranteed level 4. You cannot get level 5. So you will only get gold. And same thing goes with helmets. Whatever the lowest tier helmet you have on your team, then you get the next tier up. Just because you have level 3 and your squad has level 2 doesn't mean that you get level 4. So that's slot number 1. And slot number 1, it can be an Evo, helmet, or knockdown shield. So I'm assuming that you get, until everyone's at level 3, it probably won't go to a helmet or knock, because it needs to be consistently Evos. But I would argue, I would say that's probably the case. So slot number 2 is some kind of meds, mobile respawn beacon, and Phoenix kit. Interesting that she can't get heat shields. I think that is, especially in early rounds, what you would need when your team is likely still alive, when it's easy to get a respawn because everyone's spread out on the map. You could go for one that's already in place. Slot number 3 is a weapon attachment like the 4-10 digi or the 1x digi, and they don't have supply drop weapons, which we already know. Blue and not marked on the map or announced. They limit a blue light until opened, and they take 15 seconds to land once called in. So I'm fine with it taking 15 seconds to land. That's reasonable. It's not egregious. You're not sitting in the same spot forever. It doesn't limit, team movement too much. It still can be used for teams that need loot but are also aggressive. And you're not a sitting duck waiting for it to come in. That's all fine. What I don't agree with on the ultimate is the call-in, the charge time. That's That's egregious. That's ultimate accelerants. Like, the whole game is at most 20 minutes, and if you wanted to call in 3, it's gonna take you 15. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. So, I reduced the cooldown to 280 seconds. That sounds too fast. No, no, it isn't. That is not too fast. So I take off. I take off a little bit. I'd reduce it further. I'd put that all the way down to 240, if not like 230. I think 230 would be almost 4 minutes, and then that times 3 is 11 and a half, which is the first half of the game. I think that's reasonable. By the first half of the game with no accelerants, you can have all your lifeline packages to get the whole team up to purple. I think that's a doable strat. But is that might be too consistent. That might be too consistent. So 4 times 3 would be 12 minutes. That's better. Honestly, 15 minutes might even be worth it. Let's double check ring close times on that and see where that's going to go. So let's go to map and we'll go with Battle Royale, arenas, map variants, map rotation. The ring. Okay. So, the round 1 wait period, the time to close, the damage per tick. Okay. So, ring wait period. There's a roughly 60-second period before round 1 starts. During players cannot see the map. Okay, so this is what we're gonna go off of, because off of launch it's gonna start charging, right? So that counts as 1 minute. So that's gonna be 60 seconds. And we'll put that down as 1 minute. And then round 1 will start. Cannot see where the round will shrink to, and then that is where round 1 starts. And so there's a 3-minute wait period on round 1 starting, which means that before the ring closes, it's going to be 4 minutes into the game. Then it's going to take another 3.75 minutes for that to close. Then after that, there's another 2.75 minutes before round 2 starts to close, and then it will take 45 seconds for that next ring to close, putting us at 11.25. So that would mean that by round 3, you'd be getting really close to getting everyone up to level 3 armor. So if we add another wait period of the 2.25, that would be 13 minutes plus the 45 seconds for the ring to close. Then that comes up to 14 minutes, which means it wouldn't be until round 4 that you get your third package. That's I don't know about that. That's a little deep into the game. So but that also means that you need accelerants, which plays into the strat. Because if you get an accelerant, then it takes off 35%, and 35% of 5 minutes is a sizable chunk. So right now at 15 minutes, it's coming up into round 4 timer, which is too far. So if what we're looking for is if by the end of round 3 closing, which should be 14 minutes. So at the 14-minute mark is what we're looking for that sweet spot for all 3 lifeline care packages. But we do want that to require, I would say, 2 ultimate accelerants. I'd say 2 to make it a little bit more random, because also with looting, you may not need it. So I would say that you need 2 ult accelerants to get it to happen in 14 minutes. So at 5 minutes times 35%, that takes off, wow, a minute. No, let's double check. How much ult excels work on Lifeline's ult, because it may be lower than 30%. In fact, I think to do that, I need to go to the ultimate accelerants tab, because it'll tell me who it doesn't work on as quickly. So, it's under regen. Under regen, ult accelerants, 20% ultimate for Loba, but 35% for other legends. I think we need to make that 20% for Lifeline, so that she can have a 5-minute ultimate. because 35% of 5 minutes isn't a minute off. That's too much. So if we were to make it 20%, it would take off 1 minute. So yeah, I think that we need to include Lifeline on the alternate description for ultimate accelerants, because that would give her a sizable nerf as well. And I know Respawn is trying to give more to her ultimate, but because of the direction I'd like to see Lifeline and the guaranteed drops I'm putting in her ultimate, it does need to be this way. So it should make sense in a minute. So one ult accel will make it go from 15 minutes to 14 minutes. And then a second ult accel will make it go to 13 minutes, and that would be before round 3 closes. And round 3 is a fairly big ring as well, so I think that's doable. I think yeah, and then if you don't use any accelerants, those 2 minutes really shift the round around. That really shifts it. So I think that's good. I think that's good. And we're gonna double check this because I would like to rework the ring as well. That's a very weird thing. So I think that's what I would like to see as well. So we're gonna do that. Yeah, I think that's good. And yeah. This is gonna stay. Cooldown is still 5 minutes. And ultimate accelerants now reduce only 20% of her cooldown. They take off a minute. Well, that's still a lot. So to be able to take off a minute, I mean, sometimes you can find more than 2 ult accels. So I think this is the right way to go. So I think that'll help make it a bit more random about if she can get all 3 of it. And her ultimate is getting a rework as well. That's getting shifted. So I do have a solution for Lifeline getting her fast heals. I gave it to a different legend. Yeah. His name is Christoph. He's a fortified healer that is a mix of Lifeline, Loba, and area access playstyle. He counters Caustic and my other new legend, Navarro. I don't remember what Christoph does. If I gave it to both her and Christoph, then he needs something to keep his abilities balanced with Lifeline. New support legends are really needed, and I hope this was the right call. Christoph is intended to be a watered-down healer and looter that also has some combat use without his abilities dealing damage. That sounds nice, but how did I do that? I left Lifeline to be focused on healing, reviving, and spawning high-tier gear. That is the goal of Lifeline. I left Lifeline to be focused on healing with Doc, reviving with Doc, and spawning high-tier gear with her ultimate. Loba is focused on grabbing the loot near you in large numbers. Christoph on ranged reviving. I think, oh, that's what I did. That's no longer a thing, so that gets to go away. So I gave Christoph a tactical that is a revive rifle that shoots a self-revive syringe at his teammates. So think what Lifeline's Doc does now without the shield. I give that to a new legend who I've named Christoph, named after Christoph Waltz. And well, how cool would that be if he voiced him, by the way? It would work. It would totally work. I would love for that, for Christoph to actually be voiced by Christoph Waltz. I mean, I don't think he'd do it, but like, fuck, that'd be cool. I'd be so happy. I'd main him, even though I didn't even make him for me. I made Ghost for me. I'd main Christoph all the fucking time if Christoph Waltz voiced him. Holy shit. Sorry, I'm a huge fan of Christoph Waltz, so that's why I named a thing after him. But I mean, how could you not be, though? Like, he's just goddamn, he's such a good actor. And anyway, that's a whole nother rant. Let's see. So Loba is focused on grabbing the loot near you in large numbers. Again, I buff her ultimate to let you take 3 to 4 items. Christoph on range reviving, which is similar to her drone right now. So, you know, I think I gave it a hit scan, 100-meter range, Kristoff to shoot a self revive at teammates that starts instantly. By the way, is they don't get to like get a gold res shield and then crawl away and hide. It is wherever they are, the revive starts. That is what I have Kristoff doing. I give Kristoff the passive of carrying extra shield bats, extra meds, extra syringes, extra shield cells, and I give him an ultimate that is a fire retardant air cleanser that removes caustic gas and retards Navarro's flames. So for those, so that way he can open up areas of the map that caustic or Navarro is trying to block people from. So it's it doesn't destroy the ultimate. It doesn't destroy the traps, and it doesn't destroy. It doesn't disable Navarro's ultimate, which is a flamethrower, by the way. It just retards it for a certain amount of time. I believe that's the route I went with it, because I do have the new incendiary grenades, of like the fire grenades rather, that's or a counter to caustic gas. I don't have anything that's a counter to Navarro at the moment, so I actually might, because of Navarro, I might need to remove the grenade I added. That might be a bad idea. So I really love the concept of flammable caustic gas, though. I really do. I love that, but it would make Navarro too strong. Unless caustic gas was also no, it can't be flammable and flame retardant. That's stupid. It can't do both. It can't get set on fire and also block his. Like it would be dumb. I could have caustic gas not be flammable but fire retardant, and then I could have the grenade. No, but then the grenade would need something other than fire to ignite the caustic gas. That wouldn't make logical sense. So I need to have a different way to ignite caustic gas or disperse caustic gas, which I do have Kristoff for. I do have like a detox grenade. Basically, it's like a big fire extinguisher that also would like absorb the caustic gas kind of thing. But well, that would be it. If I just made a grenade that sucks up caustic gas, then that'd be perfect. Should Horizon's ultimate suck in caustic gas? Should that be a counter to caustic? That'd be interesting. I mean, it is a black hole, right? Like, should Horizon's ultimate counter caustic gas? I feel like it should. Logically, it should. It should also counter Navarro's flamethrower as well. And anything AoE like that should be countered. I am happy that it doesn't counter like Bangalore and Gibraltar. That'd be too fucking broken. Can you imagine though if it fucking just like sucked in like Gibraltar's ultimate? Like, oh goddamn, that'd be broken as fuck. Yeah, let's we'll do that for Horizon. We'll have it counter caustic gas and Navarro's flamethrower. We'll do that for sure. That's a good idea. And then I would need to remove my idea of caustic gas being flammable. That was such a cool idea though. But it would make Navarro too strong, and it would make caustic too open, especially with that new grenade. Damn, I really loved that idea. I really, really did. I want to keep that idea. I do. But there's no way that I add Navarro without it breaking. And especially if I give that ultimate to Kristoff and I let Horizon and Kristoff counter caustic, I can't let two legends and everyone counter caustic, especially one legend that's inherently broken against caustic. So I just, yeah, it, yeah, I guess I got to do that. But if I let Horizon counter caustic gas, then there's no need for Kristoff. If I give Horizon the same counter to caustic and Navarro, then not only could they not be used in tandem on their team like is such the common play between using Horizon and Caustic is to throw their ultimates on top of each other. If those were to cancel out, that would I'd have a cult following of people trying to kill me. And on top of that, it would leave no room for Kristoff in the meta. If he was designed to counter and be support, then there's no reason to pick him over Horizon. There's not enough benefits. So although it is a cool idea, I think Respawn made the right choice by making Caustic Gas not counterable with Horizon's Ultimate. I think that needs to stay that way in the long term. It's a great idea. It's a cool idea. It's a flashy idea. But I don't think it brings enough change to the game and would keep the game in a healthy state. It would cause an inherent shift to power. And I don't think that's the right move. So Horizon will not counter Caustic Gas, and Kristoff will, because I need Kristoff. I need another support legend. The range revive, the extra meds, countering Caustic Gas and Navarro. That's huge. I'll find another way for his ultimate to be useful as well. And then Caustic Gas is now no longer flammable, and I need to remove the gas grenade from my loot pool so that my total items go from 46 to 45. So for those keeping track, I'll update the thing. So no new grenade. So the current item tally of 68 items spawning in Season 9, and my changes would be reduced all the way to 45, which is roughly a third of those items going away. In case you were wondering, that's roughly a third, especially with it now being 45. I think it is just above a third now. Before it was 32%. Now it should be above 33%. So it should be just over, if not exactly, a third of those items are now gone. It won't be exactly a third, but it'll be close. In fact, let's double check because I have a calculator. 68 divided by 45. Nope. Yep. 33.8%. So it is just above a third. A third would be 33.3. So that is 33.8%. Just in case you guys weren't sure. Nope. I'm trying to do times -1. Nope, that didn't. Okay, never mind. That wasn't the right button. But 33.8%. That's how many items I'd be getting rid of. So a sizable change to the loot pool, no doubt. Most of that is from. I mean, I get rid of 12 extended mags. It's not hard to reduce a third of the items when 12 of them are extended mags. If you wanted to look at what isn't extended mags, then it would be 45 plus 12. It'd be 57. So I'd be taking it from 68 to 57, which would be 11. So 11 of those items would be more like 16%. So I'm getting rid of 16% of items that are not extended mags, and then the other 16% I'm getting rid of is extended mags. So if you're worried about like, because if you think about keeping all the extended mags, and then you're like, wow, you got rid of a third of the items, what's left? What did you do? Gut Apex? Like, no, not really. Like, you could gut Apex just by making everything one extended mag, which I do. I want that, but I also, to make it a more modest statement, is I reduce 16% of attachments that no longer need to be here, and then the other 16% of things I'm getting rid of is fucking extended mags, because we don't need 4 tiers of extended mags. It's ludicrous. They don't do enough. You'd have to make them fucking broken in order for that to be useful. It's dumb. It's a complete waste of space. So in an effort to not waste space, then there we go. You gotta get rid of them. You can't have 4 per class. I mean, if you're gonna do 4 tiers, right? They need to be combo. They need to be AR LMG, right? Kind of thing. But you can't even do that because you do it based on ammo type. If you did it not based off ammo type, but based off of what the gun was, like PUBG, then maybe you could get away with it, right? If you did SMG pistol, if you did AR LMG, and then you did sniper DMR, sniper marksman, then maybe you could get away with it. But even then, that's still 4 categories, or no, it'd be 3. It'd be 3 categories. So it'd be 3. You get rid of 4 mags. If you do all that work, if you put in all that coding, all that effort, you get rid of 4 mags. And yeah, 4 mags is a good cut. It would help a lot, but it wouldn't help enough. You still have to, in my opinion, get rid of gold. So now you'd be getting rid of 7 mags, and then you'd have to get rid of white, in my opinion. So then you'd be getting rid of 10 mags. So cool, you got rid of 10 mags, right? I can get rid of 12 and do way less work just by making everything level 2. Make everything level 2, increase the amount that they help, so give it more like level 3 rarity, but level 2 actually level 2 rarity, but then give it like level 3 help and ammo, and make reloads take longer, not less. Right now, extended mags actually help you reload faster. I don't think that should be the case. I think it should be an actual choice, not an obvious gimme or something that is currently required to not get completely fucked in the end game. So yeah, that needs a change. Extended mags are just another thing that you troll along, getting like la 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 la. Ooh, shiny! I better grab that because I need it, and then keep walking. There's no decision making. There's no angst. There's no nothing. It's just ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. That's not looting. That's ludicrous. It's delusional. All right. It's distraction. That's not a game. There's no. It's ooh, piece of candy. I can play ooh, piece of candy on any other game. I don't want to. It's a first-person shooter, tactical. What you're hoping to be a competitive esport, and in a competitive esport game, you've got ooh, piece of candy looting. Why? Why? Anyway, sorry. Just doesn't make any sense. So, Lifeline's ultimate. It now guarantees. I feel like I'm spelling that wrong. I'm definitely spelling it wrong. It's UA, isn't it? Yep. UA. Guarantees level 3 body with a chance of gold. It's and that would be slot 1. So let's keep the same format here. Let's get back to professional side of this rework, not just me ranting about what I don't like about Apex. Slot 1 guarantees level 3 body, shield with a chance of gold. And guess what slot 2 is going to do? Slot 2 guarantees level 3 helmet with a chance of gold. As well as small heals. So you'd be getting level yeah, let's just be more specific, a lot, as well as 1 stack each of cells and syringes. And then slot 3 will guarantee a stack of heat shields until round 3 begins to close. And after that, will guarantee a mobile respawn beacon. I don't think every ult should have mobile and heat shields. I think that's a bit too far. So that would be a pretty big shift of power, frankly. Like that'd be pretty big to be able to guarantee a mobile every time and heat shields every time. And then you can choose based on what you need. But I think that'd be taking it too far. So I would rather that it's 1 or, and that you would also that slot 3 will also spawn a stack of batteries and medkits. So I think that's enough shift to power. If to some, arguably a better shift to power to always get those consistent meds. But I think that is what we want to keep her at. And you could even argue that maybe she doesn't get mobile respawns. Maybe she doesn't get heat shields. And maybe her slot 3 is just shield bats, medkits, and Phoenix. And that would be an okay shift to power to me as well. If that were the case. Or you know what? In fact, I think I'll even I'll remove the cells and syringes. So with chance of gold helmet, and then slot 3 will be heat shields until round 3. Mobile respawn once round 3 begins to close, you now get mobile respawn beacons, and then slot 3 will be also have shield batteries and medkits. And I think that will be a healthy place for Lifeline overall. So just to recap, since we did have a little bit of a rant there, apologies. To recap the rant, to recap Lifeline changes without a rant, removing the blue supply bin passive. Doc will revive in 4.5 seconds instead of 6. Doc will have the shield back, and the shield will have a health of 1000 damage. The Doc revive will have a cooldown of 20 seconds, and during this 20-second cooldown, Lifeline can still revive a knocked teammate herself, but at the standard 6-second timer with no aid from Doc. The Doc drone will keep healing at a rate of 8 per second, but can heal 200 health instead of 150. I'll make sure that's noted. The cooldown is being reduced to 35 seconds from 45 seconds. And her ultimate now only contains a level 3 helmet, level 3 Ebo, and a mobile respawn beacon or heat shields. Again, this was written before heat shields were a thing. Or heat shields. Or actually, I'll just so ultimate cooldown is still 5 minutes. Ultimate accelerants now reduce only 20% of her cooldown instead of 35% of her cooldown. And slot 1 guarantees level 3 body shield with a chance of gold. Slot 2 guarantees level 3 helmet with a chance of gold. And slot 3 guarantees a stack of heat shields until round 3 begins to close. And after that, will guarantee a mobile respawn beacon. Slot 3 will also spawn a stack of shield batteries and medkits. So this is the goal of these changes are to make Lifeline focused on healing, reviving, and spawning the high tier gear, not weapon attachments. She is good for helping your team increase their health pool, not helping your team get more deadly. That's what Loba's for. If you want someone to help your team get more deadly, try Loba. So that's that. And Loba is focusing on grabbing the loot near you in larger numbers, meaning that she can now take 3 to 4 items from her thing. And then Kristoff is a new support legend, which we will be covering later as well. And I'm gonna start having support legends offer counters to defensive legends, because there's not a lot of counters to defensive legends abilities. It's just counters to defensive legends with movement. So I'm gonna allow 1 or 2 support legends to counter defensive entrenched legends, so that for players that don't like the movement playstyle, that struggle with movement playstyle, they have a chance to counter defensive legends as well. And I think that support can in its own way help counter super aggressive teams by creating by helping teams be more equipped to fight without having to take on as many fights to keep looting. So that, Loba can help you loot up faster and move around the map more. Lifeline can help keep you going. Gibraltar can give you some cover and time to heal, maybe even time to get off a res. Bangalore can stop an aggressive team, and so on. So to let other support legends kind of come in and find the little small roles left, and then focus on defensive legends. I think that would be a good route to go. Pass it for Bangalore's up next. This is before Fuse, so I actually thought that it would make more sense to let Bangalore also stack grenades into. This is something I called it. Boom, there it is. I don't know what it's called for Fuse. What do they call it? It's probably not as punny, but that's fine. I would assume he's offensive. Yes. Explosives enthusiast. Grenadier, is that what they call it? Yeah, Grenadier. Fires grenades faster, farther, and more accurately. So this whole thing, um, this is too much for Bangalore, right? I just want this bit. This is what I want for Bangalore. The faster throw that can stay with Fuse, but I think Bangalore would benefit from this. There's not a lot that's she needs done. She's a very well-rounded, bare bones legend. So I don't want to drastically shift her power. This is cooldown to 33 seconds. Oh, come on, guys. That's a little high, don't you think? I don't know about that. I would say it takes 23 seconds to evaporate. Holy hell. Yeah, okay. I know what I just said, and I'm a hypocrite, okay? I'm sorry. Hopefully this doesn't piss off Bangalore users, but shit, that's changing. That's absolutely not. Okay, so the passive, boom, there it is. Obviously this is going to be different. I can't give her Grenadier exactly because I don't think she needs to throw them farther. I just want her to stack them more. That's it. You know, and I know some of you guys are going to be like, but that's Fuse's whole identity. Well, if that's Fuse's whole identity, then maybe he needs a better fucking kit. Okay? Like, it's not my fault that they half-ass Fuse. Okay? Bangalore still needs this passive. So, I guess we're going to call it Grenadier, but it's not going to be the same thing. It's just Bangalore can stack grenades in twos. No fast throws. Or just two grenades. And this goes for anything, by the way, like any legend I've designed, any legend in Apex, if their passive can be given to another player and then that makes their character useless, it's a shit legend, right? It's a passive. It's not it's not the whole character, right? Like there should be no character in Apex that if you gave them a passive, it would make the other character useless. And so this is a pretty big thing for Fuse, being able to stack grenades in two. But again, I would have never made Fuse. So Bangalore. If you don't give it to Fuse, who else does it make sense to give it to? It's Bangalore. So yeah, I think Bangalore needs this passive as well. And now, granted, she has double time, right? We know she has double time, and we know that it gives her a 30% increase in your run speed for 2 seconds. And I think that's good. I actually would consider reducing that. I know it's only for 2 seconds, and 30% is actually pretty. You know what? With the extra range, yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. Fine. This is no big deal. Yeah, that's fine. It's this the cooldown of 33 seconds. Are you shitting me? No, that's too long. It's too long. Okay, come on, guys. No cooldown of 25 seconds. Like let's be realistic here. 25 seconds. All right, with gold helmet that'll make it about 20 seconds. That's fine. That's fine. Twice, yeah, it's fine. It's gonna let her get some more smokes out there for sure. Cooldown 25 seconds. No big deal. There's already a sizable delay between using two smokes. I don't think we need to fix that. I don't see that as an issue. Because then you're waiting, 25 seconds, 33 seconds to get it back. So I think that's no big deal. I don't think she needs to have 3 charges. That'd be too far. I think 2 is perfect. I think a cooldown 25 is perfect. And I would like to see frankly, she can throw that smoke like forever. It doesn't need to go that far, right? Reduction of the range of the smoke to 75 meters. Well, 125 meters. Because I know she can throw it farther than 125. So 125 is plenty. You don't need more than 125. More than 125 and you're just being like, hey, look over there, team that's 75 meters away from me so I can sneak around behind you. Like, come on. Come on, that's not what Bangalore is for. Okay, you're not, you shouldn't be able to pop a smoke across the map randomly and make two squads fight for no reason. Okay, come on. Like, we don't need, half the map smokes with Bangalore. Let's be realistic. Let's reduce the range, reduce the cooldown, and reduce the time that it takes to evaporate, so that you can have a faster smoke, that actually useful smoke, instead of it being this weird ludicrous like, well, it takes a while, but I can fucking yeet it. Like, come on, like, be realistic here. You don't need to yeet smokes across the map. Let's calm down a bit, take a breath, and reduce the cooldown so that you can have a more useful smoke grenade. And then it takes 23 seconds to evaporate. That's too long. So smokes now take 18 seconds to evaporate. 18 seconds is more than enough time. So that's what I would do. The canister's explosion deals 10 damage. That's totally fine. And melee to cancel launch. That's perfect. Yeah. I have a good amount of time on Bangalore. This feels better to me than what is currently in the game. So there's that. Her another passive of Grenadier to let her stack grenades in 2, and the ultimate reduces the time it takes for artillery to land from 5 seconds to 3.5 seconds. Reduce the amount of time it takes for artillery to explode from 5 seconds to 3 seconds, and reduce shell shock to 1 second. Right now, shell shock lasts like 8 fucking seconds. It's fucking ridiculous. It lasts way too long. Let's see, the 75 ahead in front of the flare. Yeah, 6 seconds. Yeah, it doesn't even show it. Slow effect, it takes like 8 seconds to go away. It's stupid. Not a chance. And a 3-minute charge time, that's reasonable. That's reasonable. I would even argue that you could increase the cooldown to 3.5. Since it will be faster, it'll hit hard. It's not going to hit harder, but you're going to be more likely to deal damage with it. So an extra 30 seconds on cooldown, I think, is a reasonable request. Between the reduction of shell shock, between how much more likely you're going to be to actually hit and deal damage with it, increasing the cooldown, reducing the stunning effect of that hit, and letting players be able to get away, I think that's going to be huge. So yeah, I think that's how I would change Bangalore after like 70 hours with her or so. I think that's a pretty good change. I mean, granted, I have more than 70 hours with her on my main account, but like it's 70 all at once, where I was like playing her, learning her, trying to figure out how the fuck to use her, kind of thing. Like this is where I would feel comfortable with Bangalore, to give her a little. I would consider this an overall buff to Bangalore. I really would. I would consider this a buff to Bangalore. So that is the goal, to make the ultimate less of a slow, more of a damage, to make the tactical a bit faster but not last as long with reduced range, to make it more practical with something that you're going to get more use out of, more mileage out of, and then adding the extra grenade stack as well. I think it's going to be a good overall well-rounder for Bangalore. If for some reason this makes Bangalore stupid good, I'd get rid of the grenade stacking first. That'd be the first thing to go if I needed to dial her back. I don't think I will. I don't think I will need to dial her back. I think that's going to be just fine. And if I needed to dial her back even more after that, I would increase the ultimate cooldown. And I would leave the artillery as is. So there's that. So caustic gas is now unfortunately not flammable. But we do have a new change to Revenant. This is a buff to Revenant as well. So it's a buff to Revenant, but we're also buffing caustic. So it's kind of going to be about the same as it is now. Not necessarily the same, but close to the same. So if you were to go through Revenant, if you're going to go through gas right now as a Revenant, as a shadow, rather, that's the word. If you're going to go through gas as a shadow, you still take full damage. But full damage right now is 5 health per tick. So what I want caustic gas to do is damage 6 to 8 damage per tick, and then have Revenant's ultimate reduce gas damage by 50%. So in shadow form, you would take 3 to 4 damage, but right now you take 5. So basically, Revenant's ultimate would be a little bit better than what it is right now in Caustic Gas, because you can't heal in shadow form. And then if you're not in shadow form, it would do 6 to 8. So this will prevent people from out healing the gas. But if you're in shadow where you can't heal anyway, then it will help you fight in Caustic Gas longer and force them to actually shoot you versus just dying to gas for the most part. So this is a change for that. So that the first thing here is going to be to is Caustic Gas deals 6 to 8 damage, and then Revenant's protection reduces it by 50%. The tactical reduces the number of traps you can deploy from 6 to 5. I think that's totally fine. Increases the radius of the gas by half a meter. The traps now trigger an additional meter from the trap to make that I wanted to test. That I needed to test. Meter I think might be too far. We're gonna go ahead and ballpark that at half a meter. Just to make the gas go off. It may not damage them the same way, but it will get them to go away, and that's kind of the point of Caustic. Is not necessarily get damage with it. The ultimate definitely damage for sure, but the traps, you know what? The further away that they activate, the less of a skill cap there's for Caustic. So no. Let's look at Caustic's page real quick before we keep going on this, because a lot of what I'm reading on Caustic just doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound right. So I need to double check what Caustic is right now, and then we'll see if these patch notes are right, because I'm not loving those notes right now. I'm really not. Yeah, so he gets 6 canisters in 25 seconds. I put that down to 5 at 25 seconds. I'm not changing the cooldown. You can hold up to 3 charges of visibility and gain 1 every 25 seconds. Use up to 6 traps to be active on the map at once. If you're able to pick up unactivated traps to regain a charge. When an enemy gets close to your trap, it releases a crowd of gas that deals 5 damage per second to enemies caught ignoring shields. I think it should be 6 to 8. Bullet striking the top of the trap will also cause it to go off. However, shooting the base will destroy it without releasing the gas. Enemies will now be slowed inside the gas and are able to sprint. Squad mates aren't affected by this. I think squad mates should be affected by that, by the way. I think no one should be able to sprint inside Caustic Gas. That makes it fair. The fact that squad mates don't get slowed down is kind of dumb. If one trap affects an enemy, it will do 5 damage per second, and any other traps affecting the same enemy will only deal 1 additional damage. If there are 3 activated at the same time, they will do 5 to 7 damage per second. See, that's dumb. You shouldn't have to stack all 3 of them to do more damage per second, right? Like, that's dumb. So we're gonna fix that. So Caustic Gas now does 50 damage, 6 to 8 damage, 50% reduction of damage in Revenant ult, and we're also going to remove the stacking of gas damage. So that's it. I think what I mean by the traps having a health of 150, I think that was that if a trap was in the open or accessible, that you could shoot the trap for 150 damage and destroy it. Because right now they can take all damage. There's just like a wall you can put down, and Caustic can just kind of sit behind it once it's triggered for the duration of the trap. So I think the idea was to give it 150 base health so that you could destroy Caustic traps without having to wait for them to go off. I think that was the idea. So 150 health per trap to help make Caustic traps have to be put in certain situations where enemies will have to be in the gas. You know, I think realistically, I don't think it's going to be a nerf to Caustic, but it's going to be raising the skill ceiling to Caustic. So it won't realistically, like, it's like 150 health is a good amount. And what you need to remember is that, yes, they can destroy your gas, but 150 is enough to make them need to reload. So if you're paying attention, if the opportunity is available, especially if it's just one person, if he shoots your caustic trap, you need to push that motherfucker because he has to reload and you don't. And reloading is a huge disadvantage in Apex. Huge. So the fact that it's deletable, but it's going to make him get deleted, that's not really a nerf, it's a skill cap. So that's where it's going to come into. So removing the stacking of gas damage, that way they don't do an extra 1 damage per tick or even 2 damage per tick or whatever for being next to another gas trap. That's dumb. That doesn't need to happen. 6 to 8 is enough to make that gas be like, yeah, let's get the fuck out. I think teammates should be slowed by caustic gas. This is to make up for the higher damage as well. And so I'm trying to make up for how much damage they have, how much damage the gas is going to do by making sure that just because someone gets stuck in the gas or stays in the gas doesn't mean that the enemy can just maneuver around him super quickly. Like it should be a fair fight in gas. It should be slow and painful for everyone. So I think that would be interesting. So teammates should be slowed by caustic gas, but not caustics. So caustic will not be slowed by gas because he has the mask. So caustic will not be slowed. But teammates should be. Other caustic to caustic, no big deal. That's a fair fight. But one caustic and his teammates over like one caustic or one not caustic when he's getting slowed and damaged. Come on, you know, like that's not totally a fair fight. So let's make it a bit more fair. Let's make the gas hurt so that it's more of a strategy than just like a go away. You know, it's we need to add some depth here. It's not just a go away button. It's a you sure you want to be here button kind of thing. So I think that's what it should be. So reducing the number of traps you can deploy from 6 to 5. I actually don't think I would do that, by the way. Now that but with everything else I just did, I'll leave it at 6. That's fine. Increase the radius of the gas by half meter. I would do that. I would give them the health of 150 to allow triggered traps to be destroyed. This will also allow a larger margin for LMGs and where they would come into effect, because now an LMG can be a counter to caustic traps. This changes to reduce the time a caustic can sit in his gas inside a building, while also letting Rampart being a soft counter to him. So this is what I mean. So Rampart would be a soft counter because of the 150 health plus the 5, but is now 6 caustic traps, which realistically, like, that's if he was bunkered in completely. I still think like 5 or 4 would be a more realistic margin. So like 4 times 150 would be 600, and 600 damage is roughly 300 damage below, if not more. Actually, I think it's probably closer to 400 damage. 400 damage below the extended mag damage of a Spitfire with her passive. So leaving any legend the ability to destroy all 5 traps and kill a red shielded caustic, as well as leaving Rampart. Oh, okay. So that was 600 damage is enough for if a caustic wasn't like just like if they just got to the building, put down all 3, then maybe they get 1 more. A Spitfire has enough damage in the mag to destroy all the traps off of damage, as well as kill a max health caustic if he's solo. So that's what would leave the Spitfire would be a counter to him, as well as Rampart's passive for extra ammo capacity. That would leave her even more room to take on 1 caustic and maybe even a teammate, or just miss more shots, maybe hip fire it instead, kind of thing. So that is what the math. That's what I'm supposed to. That's what I mean by that. But we just want to reduce the amount of time that he can be in a building as caustic. So that's what the goal is with that. The ultimate, I think I'm leaving untouched. The traps can float away when thrown in moving water. Can they really? The traps can be destroyed while midair or before they're fully inflated. Can they really? I've never really done that much, but good to know. So actually, what I think I would do is I would change the trap so it has 150 health when thrown. And so the trigger traps now have 150 health. So, like traps, I would say just traps now have a health of 150. No matter if they are triggered or not. So this is going to allow the success rate of a caustic to go up because he'll get more traps down. So it'll be easier for him to buy time, and the gas will do more damage. But the trade-off is going to be that his teammates are slowed by his gas. That the gas isn't going to stack if you have multiple traps in the same area, and that's the trap can now be completely destroyed, and there's not just a small window when you can completely fuck him over, and then another window where he can completely fuck you over. So it's allowing that balance of if you're going to commit or not. It's not about if you did it in time. It's about if you're willing to commit to that fight. And I think I prefer that greatly. So this changes reduce the time that a caustic can sit in his gas in a building. And then his ultimate, we should be leaving completely unaltered. We're going to check out his passive again real quick just to make sure. You gain threat vision. Yep. Okay, cool. That's fine. Immune to effects of gas, whether it belongs to gas, no matter what. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. The ultimate, 3.5 minutes. That's kind of long. 5 damage, but that's going to go up to 6 to 8. Other than wider effective area, the gas's function is identical. Yeah, so it's just the same. So I would, yeah. So ultimate untouched. I'd say that's fine. Ultimate is the same. Just 6 to 8 damage. That's about it. That's about it. Yeah. I honestly don't think his ultimate needs any work anyway. I think we're fine. So that'll do for him. How about Bloodhound? What do they need? So getting him an additional passive of Collector, which means just fascinated by everything they find. They need deeper pockets. So Bloodhound spawns with a level 2 bag. I'm going to reduce that to a level 1 bag. So Bloodhound specifically will spawn with level 1, just to give them a teeny little bit. Reducing the ultimate sprint speed from 30% to 20%. I think that's very much needed. So 20% boost in movement speed for Bloodhound. I don't really care if that doesn't feel like enough. The fact that he can catch Octane with 30% is not right. So moving him down to 20%, letting Octanes be able to get away. This is what is needed. This needs to happen. Bloodhound is not supposed to be the fastest legend in the arena. They are a tracker. They're good at finding people. Chasing people down is not something that they should be good at or equipped to do. So a 20% boost will let them catch most legends, but it will not let them catch Octane, and that's important to me. I don't want them to catch Octane. I want them to catch other legends, like defensive legends. That is who they should catch, not Octane. So let's go over to Bloodhound real quick as well. Oh, that's scrolling that I did. Bloodhound. This is the last. This should be the last of the actual legends. Then everything else is on to what I have designed, which we're going to look over as well. So cooldown of 25 seconds. That's totally fine. Briefly reveals. Yeah. So the max distance it will highlight is 75 meters. I would even argue reducing that range. So I think his tactical needs to change a little bit, just a little bit. I don't want to completely ruin them, but it needs to change a little bit. So we're going to reduce the range to 65 meters. And I think that's going to be just fine as well. We'll also tell you how many hostiles were detected, with the maximum number of detected hostiles being 10. Any higher will resort as 10 plus hostiles. I think that the maximum number 10 plus makes sense. But I think even just the fact that you can know exactly how many, like I think it would be huge to the information that they can grab if it was capped at 6. There's at least 2 teams here. 6 plus, at least 2 teams here. You know, there's more than 2. There's at least 3 teams here. There's 6 people here, so there's 3 teams here. Why do they need to know if there's 4 teams here, right? Because 4 teams at 10 that would mean there's 4 teams. 10 plus would mean that there's 4 or more teams. Like, how many times do you come in with Bloodhound and be like, oh shit, there's 4 teams here? You know, like, I think that's too much knowledge. You know, I think that limiting the max hostiles to 6. I think that is going to be a really good reduction for Bloodhound. So it would show 6. It would show 6 plus instead of 10 plus. And I think that's a very small way to change Bloodhound without completely ruining the character. So I think that's going to be good. The fact it takes 1.8 seconds to activate, that I've never really liked. I don't like how long it takes. I know people are probably used to that by now. But I don't like that it takes almost 2 seconds. So I would argue that should go down to like 1.5 seconds. So the activation speed is reduced to 1.5 seconds. And I know it's not a huge change, but it is enough. Those milliseconds add up. So I do think it needs a reduction because it used to be way faster. Remember? I think some of you remember it used to be almost instant, but it was like way less detection and way worse info. So I can understand, and I'm used to it being this way now, but that doesn't mean I still don't think it's too slow. It is too slow, and I think that putting it back to under a second would be pretty fucking broken. And I think realistically 2 seconds. You know, I think between 1.2 and 1.5 seconds is where I feel like it should be, and so. I'm going to start with 1.5, and then there's a chance that I would want it to be faster. There is still, like, if I don't think 1.5. I think for me 1.5 is the slowest I would want it, and I would see it going as fast as 1.2. But I think 1.5 is a good place to start. While using Beast of the Hunt, this ability's cooldown and the activation time is faster at 8 seconds and 0.9 seconds respectively. So that I'm not okay with. I think that's a huge change that needs to happen. To let the cooldown go to 8 seconds just because you're using Beast of the Hunt. I mean, why? Like, that's like saying that when Valkyrie uses her ultimate, she can spam her tactical like 3 times as fast, you know? Or like, while Lifeline's ultimate is coming in, she can place down 3 Dock drones, you know? Or while the black market is active, Loba can use bracelets back to back. You know, like, why? Why does that doesn't make any sense? Like, that's so. Like, while Bangalore's artillery is coming in, she can throw smoke grenades at no cost. Like, that's what I hear when I read that. Just to put perspective on that. Like, that's no wonder people think Bloodhound's fucking broken. Like, he. Like, no. Like, Beast the Hunt lasts like 40 seconds. That's like 6 different times he can scan during Beast the Hunt. Lasts 35 seconds. It's like people. 35 divided by 8 is like fucking 4. Right? We'll do it on screen. 4.375. That's 4 scans he can use while in Beast the Hunt. 4 scans should take him 100 seconds. This is why people probably think Bloodhound is broken. No, this is not okay anymore. When this was like the old shitty scan, that makes sense. The old shitty scan that's just an outline, that makes total sense. This is a way better scan. The tracking lasts for 4 seconds on players. That means that for 4 seconds, that's half of this. That literally means that for the 32 seconds, not even the 32, it's going to end up being the whole 35, by the way. Of the 32 seconds, so let's say just of the 4 times you can activate this, right? That's 4 times you can activate it. That's 4 times 4 seconds. That means that for 16 seconds, that during his ultimate, he can know exactly where they are. Exactly where they are. Now, granted, it does take 1.8 seconds to activate the ability, so we should put that into account here. So if it takes 8 seconds to recharge and almost 2 seconds to use, then that makes it more like a 10-second ability, which, to be fair, would put it down to 3 times. So for 12 seconds, because it's so much better, for 12 seconds instead of 16 seconds, for 12 seconds of... Oh, no, it takes 0.9 seconds to activate. It takes 0.9 seconds. That means it's 9. Every 9 seconds he can do it. So 9 seconds. So it'd be 35 divided by 9, which is still 3, but it's almost 4. All right, it's basically 4. Especially if he scans before using his ultimate, it's 4. So for 12 seconds of a 35-second ult that can be extended, by the way, he can know exactly, and not just him, the entire team with the Bloodhound will know exactly where you and your team are. That is broken as fuck. That's obvious. That's so obviously broken. Like, how does that go under the radar for a year or however fucking long it's been? Because, like, come on, guys. Come on. No, while using Beast of the Hunt, the abilities cooldown. Fuck that. No, that's going away. That's going away. That's using Beast of the Hunts will no longer allow faster use and cooldown of Eye of the Allfather. I mean, just duh. Just duh. And yeah, 4 seconds is fine. Traps and loot ticks will remain highlighted for as long as they exist. That's I don't know about the traps. Loot ticks, sure. Traps, no. Traps will also have the 4-second cooldown. Yeah, come on, guys. Come on. It's just easy. Yeah, that's fine. 90 seconds is a long time, by the way. So yeah, I'm gonna cut 30 seconds off of tracker 2. That's a minute is more than enough, guys. It's more than enough. And it's a passive again, by the way. It's passive. So that there needs to be some strength to it, yes, but it also, like, there also needs to be the need for the tactical, right? Like 90 seconds is long enough that sometimes you can just find the team before you even scan them, and then you just scan to see how many there are, not if there's not if there's people with a 90-second tracker. So I want that reduced. I don't want to make it useless. I think 30 seconds would be useless, but a minute is still a plenty of time. Plenty of time. And it will require more scans. Now the ultimate needs more work as well. So, and this allowing you to see cold tracks and move faster. Like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that at all. Downing opponents extends duration. That's fine, but I don't know about letting you see cold tracks. I don't like that. So removing the ability to see cold tracks, that's not where the power of the ult should be. Let's rework the power of the ult a little bit and still make it good. I don't want to kill Bloodhound. Like, they're a good character. Let's just make sure. So downing not killing enemies will add 5 to 15 seconds to Beast of the Hunt timer. The seconds added to the timer depend on the remaining duration of the ability. That's weird. That's weird. Why not just make it add 5 seconds? Why should it add 15? That's just because you do it at the end or toward the beginning that's weird. Let's just make downing. Let's make downing add 5 and let's make killing add 5. That seems logical, right? So 35 seconds and ends immediately when downed. Sure. And so let's change this to downing an enemy. We'll add 5 seconds, and killing an enemy. We'll add how about 7 seconds or 8 seconds. There you go. Okay. And so now, you know, if in that can stack. You know what? That's a good point. That can stack. If a bloodhound wiped a whole team on their own, then that would add a lot of time to their ult. But that would add 30 seconds to their ult in that current state. So that's fine. That would basically give them a whole nother ult if they wiped a team on their own. So that's more than enough. Increases your movement to 30%. Nope, 20%. Turn division black and white for enemies which are highlighted in red. Totally fine. No big deal. Footprints in red. Yep. Certain things will retain a little color, including the edge of the ring. Grenade explosions and various enemy abilities. Totally fine. Teammates are highlighted in blue. Perfect. I think that's giving him digi-threat vision is enough, right? Like just to and so this should let you see through smoke, right? Like that's still a thing. So you know, like, just to make sure if it's not a thing, I want that to be a thing. Is you know, it gives gives him the ability to see through smoke and gas, of course. I think that's it does give him a huge advantage in shooting into the ring as well, which is nice. And so the movement speed's great, and I think this ultimate should be something on its own. Now, granted, like there is a way, like if I could see a version of the ultimate and tactical being switched, I could, but I think that would make the tactical way too broken. So I won't do that. Additionally, I see that now the ultimate may be a little underwhelming. So we could increase the duration. You know, maybe 35 seconds isn't long enough. Maybe it needs to be a 45, 50 second ultimate, and keep the cooldown at 3 minutes. That could be an interesting way to keep it. So to give him the speed boost of 20% for longer, to allow downing and killing enemies to increase the time, and you know, again, he can see through smoke and gas, and it's just gonna make it easier to find and follow people. So that could be interesting. It would be interesting to give him maybe a damage reduction. You know, maybe we give him a 10% or 5% damage reduction while in his ultimate. It wouldn't be huge, but it would be something. It doesn't really fit, but it would work. I've been saying him, haven't I? I'm sorry. It's they. I do my best to remember, but I'm not perfect. I feel like I feel like I just remembered that I said him. I've been trying to do a good job. I've said they more than I've said him, but I need to do better at that. It does matter. It does matter. It's they. Anyway, what could we give them? I think I've been saying he too. I feel like I'm remembering. I got kind of absent-minded. Allows you to access the 12 survey beacons available on the map. Blah blah blah. Interact takes 7 seconds in which you're vulnerable. Yeah, and he's got the recon perk. I think they call it a perk instead of a passive. It used to be a passive, not a perk. So he gets tracker, he gets collector. Oh my god, they get passive, they get collector, they get recon, and their tacticals is just fine. I like the way that I did that, but the ult leaves something to be desired because of the reduction of the spam of the scan. Because doing the reduction of the spam will basically kill Bloodhound. That's a huge strength to Bloodhound in Ultimate. So there needs to be something to replace it that isn't as strong, which is why we're still thinking about it, which is why we're still here. because they need something other than just Digi-Threat Vision to make the ultimate worth it, more than just the 20% speed boost, more than being able to extend the duration of that. There needs to be a bit more than that. And I don't know what they would need. You could give them what is it? Man, that'd be broken. Would it though? There's a version of that that would work. Okay. My brain did a thing. So, give me a minute to write this down before you guys start yelling at the screen. But I've got something here. So, the ultimates will, in addition to showing the highlighted enemies, it will, for a range of 15 meters, show them on the mini map. Okay, the ultimate will, in addition to showing highlighted enemies, for a range of 15 meters, will show enemies on the mini map. Without the direction they are facing. 15 meters? 15 meters is not far. So what this will do, and what the point of this is, to help Bloodhound find campers. It's not going to give them this amazing ability to see where all the enemies are when they're in combat. 15 meters, just so you know, is about the usefulness of a PK. About the usefulness of shotguns. Most of the shotguns lose their effectiveness before 15 meters, but 15 meters is where most people would feel confident, one clipping with a Volt. It's not far. It's not far at all. And so to have that little area for them to go like, oh, hey, there's someone around me, with no indication if they're above you, no indication if they're below you, or what direction they're facing. Just if there's someone near you, then Bloodhound will be able to find that person a little bit easier. They will still need to rely on footsteps. They will still need to rely on the tactical. But at the very least, Bloodhound will know to use their tactical. Okay? It's not going to make it so that they don't need to use the tactical. It's just going to let them know that, hey, you need to use your tactical because there's someone around here and you need to find them. So I think that's a good way to give the ultimate some power without making it broken, with a very limited range, and it will give a reason to use the ultimate more than just the speed boost, more than just the digital threat vision, which is already a huge reason to use it. But to help, especially on a map like Kings Canyon, or even World's Edge, with all the rat spots that you can find on those maps, this would be huge to get that ping. And it's going to be terrifying for a lot of people, especially in ranked. If you think about it, like that, even at just 15 meters, that is a huge game changer, especially end ring, huge game changer at end game, to have a 15 meter ping on the mini map to see where they are. So I think that's realistically, it's going to reduce the team knowledge. The team won't know where everyone is, but it'll be much harder to find, but it will give Bloodhound and Bloodhound alone the knowledge of the minimap. You know, not the whole team. Like it's not map room. This is knowledge for Bloodhound. Let me write that down. This mini map ping will happen. Oh, you know, here it will happen every 4 seconds. 4 seconds, so not constant. So every 4 seconds there's a ping. And that information is not shared with the team. It only appears on Bloodhound's minimap. And I think that is a very fair buff to the ultimate for taking away the spam of Eye of the Allfather. I think that's very fair. So that is how I would fix Bloodhound. Put a fork in him. They're done. That is everything that I would change about them. Moving on to Fuse, this Australian motherfucker. That's a hard one, guys. It's a hard one because I never would have designed him. I never would have designed Fuse. This is going to be a rough one for me to figure out because it is not what I would like. Let's see. I think the two knuckle clusters was a good buff to Fuse. I think giving him two knuckle clusters was a great idea. The passive of throwing grenades faster is interesting, and it can be a fantastic mechanic. And the character design that went into that as well is beautiful. It is that is worth saving. So I will try to find a way to make this work. And his tactical is exactly what I would leave it. His passive is probably exactly where I would leave it. I feel like he's gonna need another passive. It's his ult. It's his ultimate. I can't stand his ultimate. I really do. I really fucking hate his ultimate. Okay, so the passive and attack are going to stay the same. It's the need of another passive. He needs more than that one. So I need to design a new passive for Fuse, and I need to design a new ultimate for Fuse. Passive. That's the easy one. What's the passive for Fuse? Well, we have him labeled as support, as assault, rather. But I would argue, because he doesn't have movement, that he actually would belong in support. I think that would be more his speed, realistically. I think that is more his speed. I really don't see why he's an assault legend. He doesn't do anything with movement. Like, yeah, he deals damage, sure, but like are there support you know what? I don't think there are support legends that deal damage. No, there's not. There's no support legends that deal damage. So by their definition, he is assault. But he's only assault because his abilities deal damage. But I mean, Rampart's abilities deal damage. Caustic's abilities deal damage. They're not qualified as assault. So dealing damage alone is not enough to qualify as offensive. And frankly, Revenant, I don't know if I would call Revenant an assault legend either. His abilities don't really do damage. It's a very inherently aggressive ability for sure, but because of course you're going to push with his totem, so that's a very aggressive ability, which is that that would make sense of being granted the assault thing. But if you look at, no, you know what? That's fair. That's fair. Because Horizon, Octane, Wraith, Pathfinder, Valkyrie on movement, but Valkyrie I'm keeping in recon because you kind of have to. You have to force her into recon. You can't put her in assault. She'd have to lose all of the scanning stuff, and then she'd need something else, and there isn't anything else you can give her except for making her damage abilities do more, and that's not gonna solve Valkyrie's issues. So and I know it's a hypocritical case because Pathfinder is being held back by the recon status, but so is Valkyrie. And so they're both being held back by recon, but one of them I'm forcing into it, and the other I'm taking out of it. And it's very hypocritical. I'm aware of that, but there's, because of the strength of Valkyrie's recon abilities, and because of the lack of Pathfinder's recon abilities, he does fit more easily into assault because he has more assault abilities than recon. And Valkyrie, if you were to take away the recon aspect of her abilities, then you'd be left wanting. And so she kind of has to be forced more into recon because her recon uses outweigh her ability uses, her agility uses, because of the other agility legends in the game. Because of Horizon, Octane, and Pathfinder, you don't need a legend with a jetpack in assault, but you do need the high altitude scanning and recon. That's a need that's not being filled. Granted, I designed a legend, Dexter, to fill that role by calling in a modified dropship with a thermal camera. I did fulfill that role. However, now with Valkyrie, it kind of changes things because I may have to rework Dexter, because if the way that I rework Dexter, and now if there's a team with a Valkyrie, Dexter is fucked. Like very fucked. Like, just like if he uses his ultimate with the sitting duck I made him, forget it. Completely fucked. If there's a Valk team anywhere nearby, Dexter's fucked. So I think I need to revisit Dexter now that Valkyrie's a thing. So realistically, I think I might be granting the passive of thermal vision that I gave in the ultimate. I might make in order to force Valkyrie more into recon, I'm going to exacerbate her recon abilities and cut back her mobility abilities to do what I did to Pathfinder, but the other way around, to force Valkyrie into recon by exemplifying her recon abilities, and then put Pathfinder into assault by exemplifying his assault abilities. And I think realistically, it's the healthiest thing for both characters. But it is unfortunately hypocritical. So that just, I acknowledge that it's a weird thing, but in this case, I need you to forgive me and be patient as I explain my hypocriticalness, and hopefully you agree. In the meantime, Fuse. The fuck am I gonna do with Fuse? So he's an explosive guy, but the thing is that we can't give him artillery because it's already used twice. So, and we can't give him a rocket launcher for what should be obvious reasons, but you can't give him a rocket launcher. It would be fun. It'd be a lot of fun to give him, one of the rocket launchers that was used on Titans, kind of thing, and just let him like blow this shit out of stuff. Like if the map had destruction, if it was like Battlefield, if it ran on fucking Frostbite and the map had destruction, then like, oh motherfucker, I'd be giving Fuse a missile launcher for sure, that he could destroy some fucking buildings. That'd be dope. Like for him to be able to blow a hole in a wall to make an escape with his ultimate, that'd be huge. That'd be amazing. That'd be super fucking cool. But that's that's just not the case, you know. So if his ultimate could be it could deal, you know, low damage, like 50 damage per person in splash as a rocket launcher, and then could also destroy the map and create openings and buildings and stuff, that perfect, easy to balance, no big deal. If it you know, maybe you give him a rocket that one shots tridents, you know, that would be, but that's so situational because it's only one map, so that doesn't work, you know. Like there's not enough anti-vehicle combat. It's not, you know, like there's not enough reason, like, you know, Fuse's pick rate would go through the roof on Olympus and then like tank on everyone else on every other map. So like it wouldn't this is what I mean. I wouldn't make Fuse. All right? Like, oh, another explosives guy. Great. What the fuck do we do with him? I don't know. We already have 2 explosive people. Why do we need a third? Fuck it. Let's give him a ring of fire. Like, and make him look like an Australian Johnny Cash. All right? Sure. Fuck it. You son of a bitch, I'm in, you know? But like, what did the game benefit from Fuse? Like what tactical situation was no longer possible that now is possible with Fuse? Like I can make some people have to stand next to a rock. Oh, stop the presses. You know, like like what am I supposed to do with this? Like it doesn't why? It's like when Oreo is making all these Oreos and then they just keep coming out with flavors and you're like, why? Like, and this isn't even a flavor. This isn't even like this isn't even mince or chocolate. This is like candy cane or Halloween. Like it's not a flavor, it's a different color, you know. Like it's there's no, what am I doing with this? Like it's just an Oreo. Like you didn't do anything for me, you just gave me another Oreo. I don't need it. I already have Oreo. It's Bangalore. I don't need an orange Oreo or an Australian Oreo. I have Bangalore. Like you already made me Oreo. Like I don't need like, I don't need Fuse. He doesn't do anything for the game. Like he needs a completely different ultimate to make it do something for the game. So he needs another passive, needs a brand new ult. That's what he needs. He needs to be different. So what do I give him as a passive? Well, I could give him the same passive as Rampart. I could give them both the reloaded and give him extra ammo and extended mags. I could. Or at the very least, maybe Fuse could be a marksman specialist, or maybe he's a what's it? You can't make him an SMG specialist. SMG is too strong. You could make him a pistol specialist. You could have him have extra ammo with the RE45, the P2020, the Wingman, and the Mozambique. You could do that. But that wouldn't really be enough. No one would care. Extra Wingman shots would be nice. Extra RE45 shots would be nice. No one would really care about the P2020 and the Mozam though. The Mozam actually might be that would be worth it for sure. On second thought, the extra Mozam shots would be pretty legit. So there's that. You could do that. You could make him pistol, because pistols are generally underrated in the game, and would benefit from increased mag sizes. They would. What's what else? What else could you do? You could have him throw koalas. Like, that could be his ultimate. Just start launching koalas. Um, you could give him a passive of like animal like call outback, and then animals don't damage him, because we've got the takeover event in Olympus with the spiders or something. You could have the spiders ignore fuse because of outback, and then you could have the prowlers ignore fuse because of outback, and then maybe his ultimate, like if you think back to Call of Duty days, maybe he has the dog's kill streak. Maybe his ultimate is he calls in a pack of prowlers to wreak havoc on the enemy team. Maybe he calls in like 4 prowlers as his ultimate, and he just whistles, and then all of a sudden there's just 4 prowlers that spawn on the map, and they start running at the enemy team. That could work. But that would almost be a replacement for Bloodhound, because those prowlers have to know where people are, and so the prowlers, if there's someone in like a 25-meter radius, or say maybe like a 30-meter radius, he could just use that to check if there's people nearby, and then the prowlers would just go like yeet themselves at the camper. And so if he walked up to a building, he could just whistle, and then if there's people in the building, then the prowlers would like go in and try to attack, and then he'd know. So that's too close to Bloodhound. It's interesting and it'd be funny as shit, but it's not good for the game. So we can't do that. His ultimate could be or his passive rather. His passive, frankly, which I think people had mentioned this before, is reduced grenade damage. People had mentioned this before. It's for him to take less damage. What this is called in Call of Duty? What do they call this? EOD. They call this EOD in Call of Duty, where they take reduced explosive damage. So this would mean let's call it a 20% damage reduction to grenades, arc stars, and explosive ultimates. Yeah. Why is that being spelled wrong? Looks the same. Oh, okay. Such as Bangalore's. That's just not capitalized. Bangalore's artillery, Bangalore and Gibraltar's. What? Oh, A. Artillery. And let's double check who else would have an explosive. I think that's it. Yep, that would be it. Oh, Valkyrie. Valkyrie. And Valkyrie. I'm not used to spelling Valkyrie yet. Valkyrie's tactical. There we go. New passive for Fuse. EOD. Reworked ultimate. Fuck. What do we do for him? What do we for a Klondike bar? Just keep swimming. Fuck do we do? God damn. It's tempting to just give him like a 20% movement speed bonus and a bunch of throwing knives, but I have another legend that does something similar, so I can't do that. But Just go, it's just ultimates. That's not a knife, and then he just starts sprinting around, throwing knives at people. Like that'd be fun, you know. But it's not the right direction for a new ultimate for Fuse. But that'd be fun if we have like, can you? Oh God, I'd play Fuse all the time if that was his voice line for his ultimate. If he just goes, "That's not a knife," and then just starts sprinting around, throwing knives at people. Oh fuck, I'd do that all the time. Oh, that'd be so funny. But but no, that's not gonna work. Man, what do I do? What do I do for him? What do we for him? Shoot. I don't. It's just it's such a hard conundrum. It's such a hard conundrum for what to do with his ultimate, because like the game would be fine without his tactical. As a character, you just don't need him. It's an interesting idea, but what does it bring to the game? Like what? Like it's just a grenade. I wanted to add a grenade too, but then I got rid of it because I realized it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth the effort. It was, it's just what it would do to the rest of the game wasn't impactful enough, so I got rid of it. What does this do to the rest of the game? It's just another grenade. Okay, cool. And he doesn't take up inventory space. Okay, cool. But then you give the legend who doesn't have grenades take up as much inventory space a grenade that doesn't take up any inventory space. So now you made a grenade spam legend, okay? But then you made backpack changes to counter grenade spam, and then you made a legend that can grenade spam better than before. So why? And so like it's just so easy to shit on him because he doesn't nothing needs to be here. His whole passive, like that could be given to Bangalore, and you don't need to make a whole legend just for this passive. You don't need to make a whole grenade just for a legend to have an ability, and you don't need a ring of fire because you made an explosive expert after there's already 2 different artillery legends, and so having a third would be redundant. So what is he like? What am I like? You're putting me in a box here. If I'm gonna make Fuse different, and you have to have this legend in the game, then what can I do beside a Ring of Fire? There's not a lot of options, and a Ring of Fire is a horrendous thing to have to balance. And on top of that, it's a Ring of Fire. Half of the legends in the game can leave it. Like if we want to look at we'll count up how many people don't give a fuck, right? Okay, Wraith doesn't give a fuck. Octane doesn't give a fuck. If Revenant has his ultimate, Revenant probably doesn't give a fuck. Horizon doesn't give a fuck. Watson, if she has her ult down, doesn't give a fuck, but we won't count that. In fact, between Revenant and Watson, we'll count that as 1. So I think that's up to 5, right? So if Revenant and Watson is 1, then perfect. That would be 1 that doesn't give a fuck. Horizon doesn't give a fuck 2. Octane doesn't give a fuck 3. Wraith doesn't give a fuck 4. Okay, Gibraltar doesn't give a fuck 5 because he can put down his dome and fucking sit in it, and you can't shoot him. So Gibraltar doesn't give a fuck. So that's 5. Loba doesn't give a fuck. That's 6. Pathfinder doesn't give a fuck. That's 7. Valkyrie doesn't give a fuck. That's 8. Okay, 8 of the however many total legends there are don't give a fuck about Fuse's ult. Right? So this is 4, 6, 10, and then this is now 16. No, sorry, 17. So 8 of 17. No, it was 11, wasn't it? Or was it 8? So there's 17 total legends. So Wraith, Octane, Horizon, 3. Revenant and Watson, 4. Gibraltar, 5. Loba, 6. Pathfinder, 7. 8. So 8, literally half of the legends don't give a fuck. Half of them. How is that a useful ultimate if half of the legends, easily 7, by the way, but kind of 8, if not, because half and half. So 7 for sure. and then like two other situationally, meaning maybe 7 to 9 legends don't give a fuck about his ult. So how is that an ultimate? How, like, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, because 7 of 16 don't give a fuck, it has to be strong as shit for the ones that do give a fuck. And then it's not fair if a team doesn't have a full stack or a partial stack, you know, like 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3 movement legends that don't give a fuck about assault. Because then a whole team of them, or 2 out of 3 of them, are stuck in there and can't leave without getting completely wrecked. And then those people are completely screwed by the 2 or 3 people that are on Fuse's team. So there's no way to balance it because most of the legends don't care. So how am I supposed to make it effective if half of them can just yeet out? Half of them don't give a fuck. Half of them can just leave. So the other half have to be completely shit on to make up for the fact that the other half can just get the fuck out. So frankly, a rocket launcher would be better, but it also would be more toxic and would be complained about way too often. So you can't do a rocket launcher without Twitter blowing up at you. So, like, it makes sense to give him a 50 splash damage rocket launcher that can, you know, reload once before getting put away. That makes sense, but no one would shut up about it. No one. I mean, it's you're in a box. Fuse puts you in a box, which is why I would never make him, because there's nothing I can do about it. There's no way to make him not broken to people that can't get out. There's no way to make him you know, to lock in the people that can get out. I mean, if you made the ring of fire so tall that you couldn't see through it, maybe you can get that to work, right? You get rid of the 200-meter range and you put it down to 75 meters and you make the fire like 15 meters tall, right? Then that would make sense. But it also isn't logical, and what the fuck would burn that tall? You know, like, it doesn't. That would make it work, but then you have Valorant, okay? That doesn't look like Apex. It doesn't feel like Apex. It would look completely out of place and doesn't make any sense. There's no way to make that look good. There's no way to make that work on a beyond a reasonable doubt, right? Or what is referred to as suspension of disbelief. There's no way to make that ring of fire that tall without breaking suspension of disbelief. There's no way for people to look at that and their brain go, yeah, that's fine, without thinking about it. You're going to think about it. You're going to go, what the fuck is that? Why is this here? This is dumb. So the only way to make Fuse work is to break suspension of disbelief, and then you have an unimmersive game. So you can't do that. So he puts you in a box, because what you have to do is give him a rocket launcher. But that's also the one thing you can't do. So, and I'm sure they probably thought about having him call in an Auto Titan too. Maybe that was what that playtesting was from or something, but you can't really have him do that either. So, realistically, what the funny thing is, if you made his ultimate Valkyrie's tactical, then that would work. You could get rid of Valkyrie, and then I could have Kristoff back, and then you would give Fuse Valkyrie's tactical as his ultimate. That would work. But it's also just another version of artillery, which you're trying to not do because there's so many of them. So there's not really, like, the Ring of Fire is unique, but it's also useless. So what's unique that's not useless? A rocket launcher. It always circles back to rocket launcher. And there's... It's a hard one, guys. If you have ideas, let me know, and we'll workshop them together. But fuck, man. You're in a box. You're in a box. What would in his ultimate, by the way, could counter fences. They could deal. Oh shit. Yeah. 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 It, okay. You're gonna you're gonna hate me for this, but I'm gonna give him a rocket launcher because I have to. Yeah, I have to. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay. It. I don't. Yeah, there's nothing else that's useful that actually works. So it would be the same as an EMP. It'd be the same as an EMP, 50 damage. Or actually, in my version, it'd have to be 40 damage because I reduce shields down to 20 per stack instead of 25. So crack, crack level 1 shield, half level 2, level 3, level 4 shield. Extra damage to rampart walls. One shot tridents. Slow muzzle velocity, like 300 meter per second muzzle velocity, constant, so that at range killing a trident is not easy. In fact, it'd be very difficult. So if not impossible. So that would have to be that. It would also mean that using this as a sniper to try to get a shot on people that aren't bunkered in and attempting to stay where they are, that would be almost impossible too. So this would be for stationary targets or for close-up targets only. Okay? I don't have any other ideas and I need to move on, so I'm giving him a rocket launcher. So 2-minute cooldown still. 2-minute cooldown. One shot. And it will take half a second. We'll give it just over. We'll give it 600 milliseconds to equip, and 600 milliseconds. And this is, by the way, 600 milliseconds is the same ADS time as a Kraber. So 600 milliseconds to ADS. So it'd be the same as trying to shoot shooting a Kraber close up. It will have a radius of 3 meters and deal 40 damage. It will have a muzzle velocity of 350 meters per second, which is very slow. It will deal how much damage? 250 damage to ramparts walls. 150 damage to rampart walls, which is almost enough to break it. By the way, it's 25 damage shy of breaking a rampart wall. So basically, if your team's shooting at a rampart wall, this alongside like 3 bullets from anything or 1 bullet from some things will be enough to fully break it. So you will, that'll be enough. And typically rampart walls are built fairly close to each other. So a 3-meter radius from the point of impact is enough to start affecting other rampart walls in that AoE. So this will be a pretty hard counter to any closely entrenched rampart, and will encourage some ramparts to spread out walls in case of a fuse. So this will make him a pretty hard counter to rampart without it making him a huge threat to every other legend on the map. As well as it not completely fucking over rampart, by the way, because otherwise it would have to be a single point of impact or not the whole 3-meter AoE. So this is a way to really devastate rampart without it completely breaking everything. It's not going to like destroy the crouch wall cover and stuff like that, but it will be a way to help get a rampart off of Sheila, to take away any advantages that she had from that particular area. And I will also have it it'll deal 150 damage to rampart walls, caustic traps, which is enough to completely destroy the caustic traps, as we had talked about in the past. Lifeline dock shields. So it'll deal 150 damage to Lifeline's shield, and then 40 damage to whoever's behind the shield. And then it will one-shot Trident. You know what? Maybe we'll just have it deal 150 damage to Tridents too. Tridents. It'll do 150 damage to Tridents, and that will be before the reduction. So it won't do 150 to everyone on the Trident. But for those of you that don't know, I think it's 10% damage that you take. So it would do like 15 damage to everyone on the Trident. That's what it would do to people on the Trident. And then it would also, I think Tridents don't have a full health either. So they don't have a health bar. They just get, they can't be destroyed. So it'll do 150 to Tridents, which is like 15 damage per person. Just to double check that. If we wanted to look at Tridents, where would that be on this? I've never actually looked at Tridents on this. Gear, regen, map. Maybe, would it be on map? I guess I can search it too. Let's just look up Trident. There we go. Mechanics. Yes. If the Trident gets hit 20% of damage, so it would do 30 damage. Yeah, that's fine. Enemies can still hit players directly for full damage. So it could do 40 damage if you hit them directly, and then 30 damage to everyone else in the car. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I think that's perfect. So that's no big deal. It would be interesting to have it one-shot Tridents and just destroy the car, but 30 damage to people on the Trident is still a lot. So that will have to do. What else would it have? Okay, so it would also have to do 150 damage to Watson. Is it just 1 T or is it 2 Ts? I always forget. 2 Ts. Watson pylons, Horizon, Ultimates, Horizon black holes. We'll just say black holes. And do Rampart walls. The Death Totem, I won't have it do 150 damage. You know what? Yeah. Yeah, Rev, Death Totem. To do jump pads. Black markets. 40. Oh, actually, it would need to do it to the drone as well. Otherwise, it won't one shot at 40 damage. It won't one hit crypto drones. So it does need to. It's a weird thing to have it do, but like, well, if it doesn't do 150 damage to crypto drones, that won't one shot crypto drones, and that'd be kind of dumb if you can't use his ult to block an EMP. So it has to do the extra damage to crypto, and that would be it. Now. It would also need to do 150 damage to Ghost's Tents, which is another legend that I have in. It would not do anything to Navarro. It would not do anything to Tadashi. It would be unblockable by Tadashi. Yeah, it'd be unblockable. Oh, we'll write that later. Ghost Tent is an equipment though, so that's why I would have to do damage to that. Kristoff, we're not done with yet. Did we not write? Did we get rid of Tadashi? Did I unwrite Tadashi? I might have unwritten Tadashi. He was a rough one. I had him with throwing knives and then an ultimate that would block incoming shots in a certain direction based on the distance the shooter was. I mean, it would be a nightmare to actually code. So I think I got rid of him. I liked him a lot, but I think for the sake of the developer's sanity and how buggy he would be, I think he needed to go. So in which case we could have made Fuse's ultimate. That's not a knife, but I think I mean, he's an explosives guy. You can't give him knives as an ultimate. He's explosive. So 2-minute cooldown, one shot, 600 to equip, 600 ADS, radius of 3 meters. Deals 40 damage to people, most velocity 350 meters per second, deals 150 damage to ramparts, rampart walls, caustic traps, dock shield, tridents, Watson pylons, horizon black holes, revenant death totems, jump pads, black markets, crypto drones, and ghost tent. I think I reduced the health of jump pads to 100. So for those of you that are like, but jump pads have 200 health. In my version, it actually has 100 health, so it would one-shot jump pads. It would one-shot death totems, jump pads, black markets, crypto drones, Horizon's ultimate. It would one-shot, I believe. I don't think I have changes for Horizon written down yet. We need to do Horizon as well. So it will one-shot Horizon black holes. It will not one-shot Watson pylon. Oh, actually, Watson pylons would defend it. So no. That's what Watson does. It'd be dumb if it didn't block his ult, right? Like that's, yeah. No, sorry. Brain fart. It happens. Move on. I'm sure there's probably someone who like yelling at the screen. The one like, this motherfucker, like you can't have like blah 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 blah, like it's too OP. like come on, man. Like how do you get through the entire episode of this and then be like, oh, like this guy like definitely thinks that that's okay? Like, no, I just didn't realize what I was doing. All right, I'm in the zone. I'm hyper focused. All right, just give me. There's gonna be some mistakes because I'm trying to check all the boxes, and then when we go back to double check, we'll get it. All right, and it's fine. I'm trying to be thorough here. So that is everything. So we do have to do Horizon changes. This is all I would change to Fuse, by the way. This is enough to make him fucking useful, because right now his ultimate is complete trash. I don't give a fuck about his ultimate. He needs this, and I think this is a pretty fair way to do it. It's the same as an EMP, right? So it's the same as Crypto's ult, but it can destroy other equipment on the map very well. You know, huge counter to Trident, huge counter to Horizon, the actual death totem, jump pads, black mark, like all this stuff, especially rampart walls specifically. That's a huge thing. For caustic traps to have 150 health and for this to one-shot those traps within a 3-meter radius, that's a huge counter to caustic. This is what Fuse needs to be useful, and that is the least that I would settle for. Now, if there was another way to give him stuff like this, then that would be interesting. Like if you didn't want to make it a rocket launcher, but you wanted to make it like a big bomb that he threw, that would be kind of cool too. But like, I don't get that kind of vibe from Fuse. I don't get it as like the almost serial killer, like terrorist vibe. I get the like, I like to blow some shit up in my free time. Like that's the vibe I get from him. And so like, I get more like that trailer park vibe than I do like the, you know, but like, so when I unless you just want to give him a big old pipe bomb and have him throw it like a baton, then sure, that would work too. But then, or you know what, you could give him a pipe bomb that he loaded into his arm and he could shoot the pipe bomb, and you know, that would work. If you don't want to give him a rocket launcher, you know. But I like the artistry of something on his back. I like the having to take it out. So beside like just shoving a pipe bomb into his arm and then just shooting it out of his arm cannon, I think keeping the, you know, the big artillery piece on his back and having him equip it and stuff like that, I think that's perfect. But I think it needs to be more along the lines of a shoulder fire missile than the current asset in the game right now. So great, this is a huge change of Fuse. It would take a lot of work, but realistically, if I was in charge, Fuse would have never released with his current abilities, and this would have been the minimum acceptable thing for him. But again, I still stand by, he wouldn't be in the game. If I was in charge of Apex, Fuse would have never been created. I would have diverted assets and focus to other legends other than him. And much like what Apex did, Fuse would be the legend that comes out when I ran out of ideas. But I'm not out of ideas, so Fuse wouldn't be in the game yet. Valkyrie. Can we make that? That bugs me. I don't want that. Why? No. Please? Don't do that to me. Okay. I'm having too much OCD right now for that to be a thing. Like, go away. Okay. Horizon. Horizon and Valkyrie are next. Now we ranted enough that kind of needs to be the end of the episode. So apologies for this one maybe being lighter on content than the rest because of all the ranting and discussing of how Fuse is like the worst kind of Oreo right now. But we do need to end, so thank you everyone for coming by. Appreciate it. Thank you for putting up with the rants. If you have any issues with anything I'm talking about, please come by the Discord. I would love to hear actual, real, constructive criticism, not just can you stop shitting on Fuse, because no, I can answer that question right now. And if you want to check out the previous live streams on this, then you go to Twitch. If it's recent, if it's not recent, if you're, you know, like a couple weeks away from when this first came out and you want to know where this is now, they will be archived on the YouTube VOD channel. So any stream that I spent talking about this kind of stuff, it will be on the YouTube VOD channel, as well as Twitch until they expire on Twitch, and then they go to the VOD channel. So they will be on Twitch for a little while longer, and then they will make their way over to the VOD channel in due time. Let's see what else. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for coming by and watching this. I know that this is not the typical this is more of the typical content that I am good at and that I like to do. It's a fun mental exercise for me, and I enjoy diving into the details, the critiques, the complex web of inter-legend interactions and how they affect and interact with one another. So this is like a big puzzle for me, and I like puzzles for the most part. So this is what we're gonna be doing. So this is almost done actually. Let's just cover what we have left. In-game legends are Valkyrie and Horizon. That's it. Those are the only two legends left. Then we have Ghost, which is a legend I designed myself, who has he's a sniper. Then I have Navarro, aka Calvin, who is a flame version of Caustic that I've designed. And then I have Kristoff, which is a new fortified support legend that I am going to be detailing as well. So that is it. And then after that, it's back into weapon changes, and then the weapon changes is it. So we're gonna finish up Valkyrie. We're gonna finish up Horizon. We're gonna go over Ghost and Navarro and Kristoff. My picks for legends for what would be season 10, season 11, season 12, and then go over the weapon dynamic that I would have stick around for that long as well. And then after this, we get into the Excel document. And if you thought that this was a lot or complex or even moderately impressive, wait till the Excel document, because you will think I am insane. If you think this is a lot to you, then you have no idea what's coming. It is so much more detailed when we get to guns, because there's numbers involved. It's not just like how things interact and possible cooldowns that we need to play test, but it is actual concrete, like how things will interact with each other that doesn't really need playtesting. It just needs to be implemented. So I can get a lot more specific with that, and I can do a lot more with that concrete info. The legends are always going to be in a small fluctuation, but for the most part, what I have detailed up to this point is where I would have legends stay within like a 10% similarity. Like once this went through, most of what I'm tweaking is numbers, not abilities, right? These are all the abilities that I think that the legends should have to make them viable, and then it's about tweaking the numbers to make sure no one legend is too OP, and that would require playtesting. But the rework of the abilities, or how the current abilities work, that's basically exactly what I would like. So anyway, thank you all for coming by. We have some more stuff to talk about, but that will be in tomorrow's episode. I'm going to do a little bit of work on my 3 legends off camera to make sure that they are what I am thinking of, what I would like, what I want. And then we will catch you guys in the next episode tomorrow to go over Valkyrie and Horizon, and then my 3 legends that I have designed myself. So until then, thank you everyone for supporting. Thank you everyone for watching the repeats, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.